Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a podcast by Practical E-Commerce.
What is going on, Internet? Eric Van Holt's back again with another E-Commerce Conversations. Hope all is going well on the other side of the Internet. On the other side of the table for me, Joel. Welcome.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Doing well, man.
Dude, I haven't done one of these in person in a very, very long time. So it's different when I'm in person looking at you versus like doing a Zoom call.
Man,
Zoom.
I mean, I do some Zoom calls from time to time, but I much prefer the one in person. There's just kind of a subtle, I don't know, nuance to communication you just don't get.
It's like I can't go anywhere. I'm just like, we're right here right now. Like I can't distract myself. But yeah, I haven't done one of these in a long time, so it's good to be on the podcast.
Well, so people who are listening know you. You're not just Joel. You're Joel Runyon from Impossible.
There we go.
Why don't you give our listeners a quick rundown of what Impossible is and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so Impossible is a mindset and fitness performance company. And so we have a couple different things. It kind of started off originally as a blog to challenge myself to do interesting things, and then kind of morphed into a bunch of different things over the years, from creating digital products and programs and training for people to now we have a training app that we have, and we just relaunched a bunch of our performance formulas to help people push their limits and do something impossible. And so our goal at Impossible is to inspire people to push their limits, train them to do that, and then fuel them as they go out and do impossible things, and then capture that on dope media stuff and use that to inspire people all over again. So
we've known each other since what, like 2014 or
a long time, I think. So like definitely before I moved to Austin, which was
it was when you were like totally vagabonding. And
oh, you know where I met you in Barcelona.
Was that when we first
met? It was Barcelona. You guys were doing you're like, hey, we're trying this YouTube thing. We think it might work. We have like 100,000 subscribers or something like that. And you're just talking about shifting from posting a couple times a week to posting
every day.
Yeah.
That would have been like 2017, I think.
Yeah, it was like 2016 maybe, somewhere in there. So
you were like a fellow DC, a Dynamite Circle, which is kind of like people who are drawn to like location independent businesses. But you've gone to the hub and spoke model, right? Like the living in, you live here in Austin. You've been here for what, 3 years now?
Yeah, so I was like very nomadic for a very long time. And then the plan was a hub and spoke model, but I've been basically just hubbing here. Like I haven't gone anywhere. Like I was basically nomadic. I was traveling very quickly, which is not super effective for business. I was leaving places for 3 days, 7 days, a week at a time, whatever. And then I got exhausted from that. I wasn't getting all the things I don't want to do in my business done. So I moved here and I was like, I'm going to be here and then travel. And then first year I was like locked up just working, and second year was COVID. And then now I'm just here.
Well, I mean, for anyone who doesn't live in Austin, there is so much here. Like there are wonderful networks here. There's great communities. I mean, if you're a regular to the show, like so many of the guests who have been on the show are freaking like ballers.
Yeah.
Absolute ballers. And they're just like here in Austin hanging out. And Austin's such an approachable, friendly city where you can, rub shoulders with people who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and, like they're just open and helpful.
What's amazing about Austin to me, not that we need more people to move here, but
I mean, I think, if you're a like-minded person who likes to work hard
but what's awesome about it is that it's, this is probably, coming up to the Beard Brand shop is probably like the farthest that I have to go in town, but it's really not that. It's 15 minutes of me. I'm on the other side of town. It's really not that bad. And there's tons of events happening, and there's tons of relatively impromptu things where people will put something together on like 4 days notice or 7 days notice. And people are like, oh yeah, it's like 10 minutes away. I'll just come over. Versus if you were in New York, if you were in like a bigger city, like New York, you have to plan on like 2 months ahead of time, and people are going to cancel the night before or whatever. And Austin is just, people are more willing to meet up. I feel like people are more willing to plan events. And there's just a high density of people from different, podcast space, fitness space, the fighting space, the entrepreneur space. Like there's all sorts of different types of people, and they're all interesting. And doing cool stuff.
Yeah. One thing that always happens whenever I sit down and talk with you is like my mind is blown in like certain ways of like doing business or launching products. I think the last time we had like a really good conversation, you were talking about building like essentially like a website app or
Yeah.
Of course, my brain doesn't work very well. I've forgotten everything.
Well, we were talking potentially about doing like a barbershop finder app for you.
Yeah, and then like scraping all the data and automating it, and just like you're very in tune to online marketing. Like, is that still where you feel like your strengths lie? Like, you've built an email list of hundreds of thousands of people. Got any secrets, man? Like, how do you do it?
So my background was, the background of Impossible and everything was literally like, you go back and read the first blog post and it's like this kid in his parents' basement, unemployed, just got fired at UPS and trying to figure out his life. And I didn't know anything about the internet or marketing at the time, but I was like, I like the internet. I like marketing. Maybe I can do something. And so I took this like internship at this internet marketing firm in Indiana and just basically started, reading everything I could. You guys know Perry Marshall. He's like an old school PPC guy. Kind of snuck my way into a couple Perry events and just learned a whole bunch of stuff. And so I kind of built my chops on PPC and SEO marketing. And then as I started, building relationships with other people that have websites or, audiences, started getting kind of into the influencer space from, influencer partnerships with podcasts and YouTube and stuff like that. And so those are kind of where I feel my strengths are highest. If, just general social media or wherever is probably not where, I spend most of my time, but coming off of SEO and building like organic traffic channels, and then also figuring out how to leverage partnerships with people who have audiences or guest blog. Back in the day, it was always guest blogging and like just getting, exchanges with other people that So
how's the game changed? Like, what is the strategy now from an SEO perspective? Is it still the same? Like, great content, generate links, and wait?
Yeah, the problem with now is like a lot of people just like copy content.
Yeah.
And so it used to be something where we'd get, I built a site in the paleo space, when that was blowing up, and it's like we were one of the first pieces of content and everybody just referenced ours, and it was, we kind of built a moat early on and that blew up. The health and fitness space is a little tougher because it's going a little bit more medical and Google's kind of trying to de-risk what they want to rank. So you'll see like WebMD show up for a lot of results, but that's not necessarily because WebMD is the best SEO, hub out there. It's just nobody's ever gotten in trouble for, referencing a WebMD type thing. So from a, nuts and bolts standpoint, I think, content it's overdone, but content is king. But if you can take an SEO base layer of content and then apply like a brand filter on it, like how does Beard Brand talk about beard care in a specific way, but still have the fundamentals of SEO really well done, that gives you a little bit of a moat. And then a lot of it's about links right now. So it's like if your main site is authoritative, that's really great. And then it's like, what can you do to make this an attractive article to get backlinks to? And, maybe that's an infographic. Maybe that's just like, reaching out to a lot of your, friends in the space that want to talk about this resource. I think I don't know if you get these emails. I get these emails all the time where it's like, hey, I saw you have a resource on beard growth. Would you also like to link to my article on beard growth? I get like a million of those emails all the time and like immediately delete. So there's other ways to do it, but like a lot of it is, with some of the, I do some advising for startups around this, and some of it's like, how do you actually create a piece of content around beard growth that would attract links? And so I think you guys did, the CDC did a piece on you where one of the mask types
was the Banholtz.
Was the Banholtz or whatever. And so was that a piece of content you guys created? Or
no,
that was the CDC?
That was my friend Antonio.
Okay.
Had an infographic for the beard types on Real Men, Real Style.
Okay.
Because he's just like a shit ass dude. Like he just plays around. He's like, I'm going to name the giant beard the Banholtz.
Yeah.
And then that became the infographic or the charts of all the beards. Like he has essentially, he's like essentially the definitive, like, and he has no like accreditations to naming beards, but just because he did it and he was early, like he got it.
So that's an example of a piece of content where you're like, okay, well, you could just list out types of beards and like talk about the beards, but you put them together, you put them in a chart, you name it, and then like you do that consistently on a couple different things, and maybe not everything hits, but like you get one that hits like that, and the amount of natural backlinks that you're going to get to that page, it doesn't sound like an SEO strategy, but it helps so much. And then you can use the link juice on that page to, what about these other articles? What about this product? What else you want to talk about? And you've kind of attracted the link juice there, and then you can kind of spread that throughout your site as you want. So I think a lot of it has to do with, just, make sure you have, people know about your site and you're doing the basics, which is, just
Yeah,
general
yeah.
SEO stuff.
Good content.
And then it's how do you merge the mix of like general SEO basics, something that has like potential upside and virality, and then utilizing partnerships or friendships or just other people in the space that after being in the space for so long to like amplify specific things that you really want to put effort behind.
Yeah.
And the chart was dope. Like I remember seeing that and I
Yeah.
was like, is that does Eric have a beard named after him? Is that what it's known as? And it's just like, it just kind of came up organically. I didn't even see it from you.
Yeah, and
at first.
Stephen Colbert, he like pulled that up on his late show. He's like the band holds. So
That's awesome.
my last name has gone through his vocal cords.
Have you you need to see like on the website as seen on Colbert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like social proof.
I don't know. So you were in the internet game for a while. You built a huge email list, and now you're joining MySpace. Not literally MySpace, but the product game.
Yeah,
the product game, man. How's that going for you?
So this has been interesting because we've launched products over the years, and some of them, we could talk about missteps and other things. But the thing we've been working on reformulation for a sleep formula. We want to help people perform at their best, and so one of those ways is to recover better, and sleep is one of the best ways you can do that. So been working on a recovery sleep formula for like 2 years now. And COVID and supply chains and all this stuff has been like popping up. And it's funny because I've done a ton of stuff in, online marketing, digital downloads, stuff like that. And we've dipped our toe into the supplement space a couple times and, did some things and wish I would have done them differently or whatever. But this is the first time like we came end to end with like a custom formulation and learning about that, testing everything. It's a drink mix powder, so we have to work on flavoring. And so once it's like, okay, I got the formula done, I'm done, right? Now it's like you're just starting. So it's been this year actually has really been fun because I'm kind of doing stuff that I haven't done before, and I'm learning a whole bunch of new stuff. And in my 30s, I kind of got to the point where I'm like, oh, I think I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm bad at, and I know where my limits are, and I'm just gonna take it. And the last year I've just been like trying new stuff all over again, and that's been one of them. And it's been fun just to be like, okay, here's all the things I didn't know about warehousing, and what do we do about fulfillment? And so it's been going really well. The sleep product went live. I don't know when this is going to air, but it went live a few days ago.
Oh yeah.
So
mid-April.
Yeah. So I have it if you want to track it out. But
if I take it now, am I going to just like crash? Like at
how
5
tired are
o'clock?
you right now?
I'm pretty okay right now.
It-
Like I take magnesium at night, so I assume there's.
So it's a magnesium-based supplement.
Yeah.
So we can jump into the details of it.
Let's
Yeah.
talk
So most sleep supplements have like a lot of things in it that like knock you out, and some of that stuff is good for you. Some of it's not necessarily good for you. A lot of the stuff acts like a sedative, so it just like puts you down. I've tried a whole bunch of this stuff, and those never actually make me wake up feeling good. It's just like, oh, I was out for 12 hours and like I woke up in a cold sweat and I got to go do the next thing, but I didn't necessarily feel better. And so Impossible Sleep it's a transparent formula. We have the ingredients on the side. There's no
This is an interesting name.
Impossible Sleep.
Yeah.
I think it's good because like the way we're pushing on it, the way we're promoting it right now is like if you're really great at training or if you're really good at like doing stuff, if you're a high performer, but you're not good at sleep, this is something that can help you.
Well, I mean, the way I think about it, I would probably market it this way: is like sleep so good, it's impossible to get without it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because if you say like impossible sleep, it's almost like this is impossible to get this kind of sleep.
Well, so with Impossible in general, all of our stuff is like it's aspirational, but once you do it, you like cross it off. So like part of the thing is like it's impossible, and then the logo is like you strike the line through it.
Yeah.
So like once you conquer sleep as a challenge, you knock it out. But so magnesium doesn't necessarily help you fall asleep.
Right.
Magnesium helps like you recover, and it encourages deep sleep and like athletic recovery. But it's not necessarily gonna. I've taken magnesium for years, and it's always been useful. But my hardest problem with sleep was always turning like the lights off, like calming down. I take magnesium and then be like, okay, I'll just keep working for a little bit until I'm tired, and then I'm up till 2 a.m. and it's terrible. So we also have L-theanine, which if you have it in like 150 milligrams, 200 milligrams, it starts kind of like puts in a calming sensation, starts to lull you to sleep. And so that combined with it's a drink mix, so there's like a habit cue of the fact of like, okay, you're taking your nighttime tea, it's time to wind down. Like there's a habit cue in there that will help basically like, hey, you can end it today. You can finish today, take the next 20 minutes, wind down, get your book, have your drink, and, go to bed. And then you wake up the next day feeling refreshed. And so So it's not necessarily going to put you out. A lot of people take L-theanine with like their coffee during the
Yeah.
day in like a little bit smaller doses. But I find that like if you take it like 20, 30 minutes before you go to bed, like I've been, informally tracking the stuff with like my Whoop, and my recovery scores are through the roof. So we've had a lot of good results so far. Excited to get the product in people's hands and keep playing around with it.
Well, I mean, like you think about a lot of entrepreneurs listen to this, and I know for me in my early years, especially, like I could not turn off Beard Brand. It was like 24/7. Woke up thinking about Beard Brand, went to bed thinking about Beard Brand. And, that kind of stress where like you do have to rest or you're just not going to be able to perform.
Yeah. Well, I found, sleep has always seemed like a bad negotiation to me. I wrote about this in our launch post, but it always seems like a bad negotiation to me. You're supposed to I'm good at doing stuff, but sleep is the opposite of that. I'm just going to not do something for 8 hours, 30% of my day, and it's supposed to be helpful. Like that seems like a bad deal. I'll just get 4 hours of sleep, whatever I can do, and then just get 4 more hours of work, and then just realize I could do that for a little bit, but then I'll have one day every 3 weeks or something like that where I just completely crash and the days of zero, and then throws off my training cycles and everything else, and then it's just okay, you're not actually in a good rhythm here, and this isn't something that you can keep doing. And so I found our target market is high performers, athletes, and then entrepreneurs, and this is something that I've dealt with my whole life. I've tried pretty much every sleep supplement out there, and I think I'm really excited about it. It's really fun. I don't know how you feel about this.
How are you selling it? Is it just the powder?
Yeah, it's a drink mix. To start, people have asked for gummies. We'll see about that. Gummies are, talking about things you don't know anything about and then try to do new stuff. So drink mixes are pretty standard. Gummies start to there's all these other things that come up, but I just really enjoyed creating something and then having it in your hand.
You have it as a subscription? Is that how you're selling it?
You could buy it one off or as a subscription, yeah.
What I would do, unsolicited feedback.
Yeah, go for it. I love unsolicited feedback.
I would have a welcome pack for the subscription, which would include a really nice sleep mask, and then some earplugs, and then an ebook that outlines these are the best practices for a wonderful night of sleep, like what temperature your room needs to be, the type of blackout curtains you need, and just the best. Maybe even include a white noise machine or something like that. Just some kind of the ultimate kit for sleep. And then once you get that, you got the subscription, and then boom, you're getting the juice and then have all the physical products.
I'm out here taking notes. I literally pulled my phone out to just take notes on that. So we're doing some of that via an email follow-up sequence,
right.
But I think I've seen a couple brands do basically the kit experience, especially if you're pushing subscription. I think it's super smart. So that's another thing, just figuring out, fulfillment is one thing, but then doing specialized kits for specific experiences is a whole different thing, and we haven't got there yet. But that's something I think is super interesting. We've talked about doing wind down playlists for people, that you can scan with the QR code or whatever, and then jump in there, and then all the additional stuff that we can add. But we're going to be pushing subscriptions specifically.
I won't even screw around with the one-time buy. I would just say I'm committed to the subscription.
Yeah.
Maybe you can buy but you make it really hard to find. It's just not it's just you're getting a subscription. We're fixing your sleep.
Yeah.
And you can't do this and not be on subscription because your sleep is going to go back to
It's what are you just going to sleep good sometimes and not all the time?
Right.
Yeah.
This has to be part of your nightly ritual. And then if you don't like it, unsubscribe. That's fine. But I mean, I want to mess around with it.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
And then you just set the expectation, because I think
I like the anchoring on it. You should be doing this all the time, and part of this is building a consistent habit. And these are all talking points we have anyways. But it's you should be doing this consistently. It should be a habit. And if you screw up a habit, I always talk about if I miss a workout, I can miss one workout. That's fine.
Yeah.
If I miss two, I'm screwed because I will miss the rest of the week. I'll go on some whatever thing. And so I think for me specifically, a lot of my habits are like that. And I think for a lot of people.
Successful people especially.
Yeah, it's you got to do the same thing every single day. And I've had a couple things where it's okay, it's interrupted one day, and now it's it's not just one day. It's usually there's a ripple effect on that action that is going to mess up 3 or 4 days. So
well, I think kind of hindsight's a Beard Brand is as we've built out so many different products that a subscription wasn't the idea, right?
Yep.
I feel if you want a subscription model, if you can start on that from day one, it makes sense, especially a product like this. It's consumable.
Yep.
You're using every single day. It's one time a night. Here's one pack.
Yeah.
One night.
Yeah.
Exactly how long it'll last. But like you start to have a problem where you're like, I'm selling t-shirts and I'm selling this and I'm selling that. It's like you have to be like super focused and just like really commit to that. And I feel like that's going to be a much more successful way to build a subscription model than, oh yeah, we can do it this way or that way.
Yeah. This is super interesting. I don't know if you do this, but like, how long have you been running Beard Brand?
10 years, man.
10 years. Okay. So someone's been running e-commerce business 10 years. If you're looking at, I think that's focusing, lasering on subscription is really smart. What else would you do? You're starting a couple other brands.
Yeah.
But like, if you're starting over, or if you're in my spot, or even, you're looking directly at the business, like besides the subscription thing, what else, are there 3 top things that you would make sure you do?
Yeah. I mean, like, as an entrepreneur, your eyes are always bigger than your mouth.
Yeah.
So you want to take over the world. But I like to think of the apple tree as one of the best analogies. Is like you got the apples that have fallen off the tree that you could just bend over and pick up.
Okay.
And you got the low one where you just grab from the tree and you can eat those. And then you got the ones where you put a ladder on, you grab those. And then you got the ones you got to bring in like the forklift or whatever and go to the very top branches. Your goal is to focus in that prioritization. What are all the apples on the ground that you can pick up? Do those first, and don't do any of this like jumping around to the top of the apple tree and it's like I want that apples on the bottom, which are your email list, right?
Yep.
Those are the ones, and then it's like the low hanging fruit is the collaborations and the friends that I have, and then maybe the one above that is like Google ads and Facebook ads, and then the one at the very highest is like selling into China, and like whatever supply chain issues that you have, junk to deal with that. So it's like don't like chase that kind of like glamorous, like international business. Just stay focused on that very good niche, maximize the hell out of it until it's completely gone. And then like when you think about that apple tree, there may be like, you have this audience of like high performers and entrepreneurs, and maybe like the next level of apple is, moms.
Yep.
Or maybe it is the high performance people in, London.
Yep.
Or in UK. So you have to really determine like which is that lower hanging fruit and be good at that prioritization. But I'm going to tell you, like here in America, there's just such a huge market that like you can build a huge audience, not wasting the logistical challenges that come with like international business.
And what's interesting about, we've been interested in pushing subscription. I like the idea of like almost flipping it to like, this is a subscription product first and foremost. Yeah. But like, if you're talking about the apple analogy, it's basically like you're just picking up an apple and giving it to the same person 12 times in a year versus finding 12 times as many apples.
Someone's just coming and giving you an apple is a subscription model, right? You're not even going out to the ground to find it. It's just like, oh yeah, I'll take an apple.
Yeah.
So like, if you can build that out, then you'll have a nice little but it's hard. I mean, like everything, because the buy-in for getting on a subscription is going to be a higher barrier to entry. But I think if you have some kind of like unbelievable kit where you have like a nice mask and you have a, ebook and whatever other things that you provide as this intro kit where it's like $500 of value, I'm selling it to you $100. Yeah. And then we're on a subscription for $30 a month. Yeah. Or whatever it is, $45 a month. Yeah. And then,
I like that a lot.
I mean, how much is great night of sleep worth to you? $45 a month? Yeah. Seems pretty cheap.
It's like $1 a night, like if you're going to like make sure you sleep good every single night.
Yeah. How much are you charging?
It's $49, and then I think there's a discount on subscription. But I like the idea of doing like an upfront charge, but you get the kit with all the other stuff in it. We've talked about doing stuff like that. It's just like the actual kitting of products is a new thing for us. So
well, the nice thing about that is like, I mean, just don't give them choices. Yeah. Just be like, we scoured the web. These are the best. Yeah. And make sure they're the best. Like, don't throw in some like cheap, like crappy sleep mask that they're going to toss away or they're good. Like, I can show you the one I use because I'm pretty bullish on it.
What do you use for sleep?
So, like I hate buying on Amazon, but there's I sort by highest price, and there's just all this junk, like all these junk sleep masks. And there's this one that essentially wraps around your face, and then it wraps around your ears as well. Okay. So it helps with like noise isolation. Okay. And the brand is called Drowsy, which I'm sure is they're just selling on Amazon. It's $70 sleep mask.
That's good margins. Yeah.
Well, so they have like mulberry silk, and they have really nice packaging. Okay. It looks beautiful. And then I bought my wife, and they got different colors and stuff like that. Okay. Which I would avoid, doing all that. Like, I think there's some efficiencies you can gain by kitting everything together. Yep. And then, Yeah, I would take away those choices and just be like, these are the best.
Yep.
And they're adjustable too because they're Velcro. So
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about like head sizing. And then like, I try to keep it pretty cool in my house.
Yeah. Do you use like cooling mattresses or anything like that?
I don't do that. No,
Okay.
we have a Casper, which is like the fanciest Casper, which supposedly has, whatever cooling. And I sleep really good. Like
Yeah.
the sleep is not a problem for me.
An
Like,
expert.
yeah. I just hit the bed. And,
Yeah.
And then the great thing about me is I'm deaf in not completely deaf, but I'm really hard at hearing in my right ear.
Yeah.
So I just put my left ear down on my pillow and I don't hear a thing. So like kids are screaming or whatever, and my wife, she wakes up and I'm just like sleeping through it. So
Like that sounds like a you problem.
yeah. So if you ever go deaf, just make sure it's one ear, and then you'll get some great night's sleep.
That's an advanced level pro tip.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, I mean, like, that's exciting. Impossible sleep. So are you getting traction?
Yeah, it's gone really well. People are really excited about it. It's just been, we literally launched like a couple days ago, so
Right.
stuff is shipping out. We got a bunch of pre-orders that people got their stuff early, but I spent a lot of time on the research on it, and so I don't want to extrapolate too far from like, we have, a few dozen people that have tried it and have really good experiences, so I'm very hopeful on that, but I want a lot more
Yeah.
feedback than that, and then we want to run our own, blind studies and actually do some research on our mix versus just like, okay, what does, magnesium in general do? What does L-theanine? We know what they do, but
Right.
have it, actually on the product that we're producing. So
What are you doing for fulfillment? And are you built on Shopify as well? Like,
Yes.
what were all those decisions?
yeah, so nuts and bolts, Shopify. So it's funny when you mentioned the apparel stuff, because we've been doing apparel forever, but we started doing more apparel, and I just started realizing that like apparel starts getting really, really complicated real
Yeah,
quick.
I don't wanna
And
touch it with a 10-foot pole.
like it's super interesting and cool for us from a brand perspective, because one of our challenges is like push your limits, do something impossible, and people go do crazy, incredible things in their impossible gear. So we want it out there, but stocking it, keeping it in inventory, like just even like understanding that like, okay, we're gonna have one shirt in 4 colors and 5 sizes, and you're just like, oh no,
20. Yeah.
yeah, and you're just like versus like, okay, we sell a supplement and you can buy it individually or on subscription. Like the simplicity there is so much easier. So apparel is like, we had a fulfillment center doing it, weren't really happy with them, so we brought it in house. So like it happens in Austin, like kind of at my house. I have a video that we're going to be doing on it. The supplements are handled by like Shipmonk,
Okay.
and so it's Shipmonk, Shopify. We use like Recharge for like the subscription, and I started using Rebuy Engine.
Okay. I don't.
It's a Shopify app. It does a lot of upsells. It'll auto push. Someone buys it for one time, it'll show you like, hey, this is what you get if you actually get on subscription, and it's like a slide out cart upsell type thing, and it's all native, and it's really, really dope. So we've seen good results with that too. But yeah, it's not a super complicated setup. Shopify, does a lot of things really good outside the box, and then with the subscriptions, we haven't run into limitations yet, but maybe there'll be some that
Yeah,
are
with
coming up we
when
won't
you
know about.
when you launched with Recharge, I know they're like right in the midst of like rolling out kind of
Their new checkout.
their new checkout.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's no longer a separate checkout if you set it up now.
Yeah, so it's through Shopify Commerce. So it's funny because we launched it earlier, and we had a bunch of pre-orders that were like kind of like they pre-ordered a subscription. So I had to do this thing where I'm like, cancel all those, get them set back up. But it wasn't crazy, but yeah, you just basically roll it out, and it works pretty seamlessly, because I know, they had a different setup where they had Recharge, and then you're going to be running mixed ones, and they had to do a manual upgrade. Didn't have to deal with that. So
Yeah, that's nice.
yeah, I've been pretty happy with it so far.
That's cool. Well, where can people buy Impossible Sleep?
Yeah. You can check out everything, all of our products at impossible.co. And then sleep is going to be right on the front page, because that's the newest product we've launched. And then everything kind of behind the brand, like all the adventures, all the challenges, all the mindset stuff, is at impossiblehq.com. And then for all the fitness training and programs, and basically we have a whole bunch of different programs that will help train you to do various different impossible challenges in 8 to 12 weeks. That's at impossiblefitness.com. So
And then how do they follow you, man? Are you on Twitter or anything like that?
yeah, I got Twitters. I'm at Joel Runyon on Twitter and Instagram. And
Just one word, no underscore.
Yeah, it's just my name. Yeah, JoelRunyon.
Why not? Runyon.
Runyon.
It's
a lot
because
of-
you like to do a lot of runyoning.
When I did all the ultra marathons, I got so like all the press we did was like, this man's name speaks for him, and you're just like, it was like 10, highly paid riders made the same joke, and I was like, guys, come on, do more with it. But It's good.
You
It
know,
works.
You gotta, like, if you're given a layup, you just
Yeah.
you take advantage.
Just feed it to them.
Sweet, Joel. Well, thanks for being on the show. This is a lot of fun. I'm excited for your launch and excited for my listeners to sleep better.
Yeah, thanks for all the advice. We are going to be implementing that. We'll check back in 6 months.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on the show and see how that works. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, I've got all these products. It's just can't move. It's a terrible idea. All right, guys, this has been another e-commerce Conversations. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks again, Joel, for coming on into the office. Cheers. Keep on growing.